Good afternoon. Today is April 29th and thought I would do a quick tour of the garden. I haven't did much of a tour because it's just been so busy, but this is how my flowers are looking right now. They're all pretty much in full bloom. My lemon tree is having something to eat it here, so I got to figure out what's wrong with that. But the Supertunias, Calibrachoas are looking good. This Persian lime is looking good. And we have a parsley that's gone to seed. We've got some baby queen salvia in there. Snapdragons, still looking good. My jasmine is coming back. And I've got some dianthus growing in there. And in this pot we have some more snapdragons and a lot of dianthus and some Johnny jump ups. More calibrachoas just going crazy in this pot here. And I have a white begonia, you can see it, or I'm sorry, geranium in there, and he's getting smogged out by the calibrachoas. And then here's some white snapdragons. Calibrachoas here, a bunch of beautiful pink snapdragons and some red geranium, and got some more salvia, some purple salvia, pink snapdragons. Look at all these pink snapdragons. Like, I just put a couple here and a couple there in each one of these pots, and they're huge. I think, like, on this end the calibrachoas are going crazy. There's some snapdragons right there that are not bloomed out at the moment. There's a few pink ones down there, but these pink snapdragons are so happy. And this purple, I think this is Anglonia. And then we have salvia. See the bumblebee? It's one of the reasons why we have these here. And some more white and pink snapdragons and white dianthus, pink dianthus, and some red geranium. More pink snapdragons and white dianthus. And here we have some yellow petunias with some pansies that are fading out, and I just popped in some of those queen salvias that I planted in there. And then over here by the greenhouse I have my begonias and mustards. The mustards are still going like crazy. I need to pick them all because I want to freeze them. And then these two petunia pots right here are still going crazy. So I wanted to give you an update on this little bed here. So this is my herb planter. So I planted, which everything needs to be watered right now because it's been hot last couple of days, but I had planted a pineapple sage and some cardinal basil, Genovese basil, a thyme, and a thyme in here. But you look at that pineapple sage. I didn't even know pineapple sage gave out the same, I knew that they're in the same family as salvia, but I didn't realize that they produce these giant bushes of bright pink flowers. So in here I've already pulled out a bunch of the cabbages, and I got some potatoes that are dying back that are getting close to be pulled out. But we still have a couple lettuces in here and some peppers. So I got a big old, my big aloe plant right here is blooming right now. And then one of my plumbagos is blooming right there. And then I just got a fresh pile of aged horse manure from one of my friends to finish planting out my beds. So it is still a work in progress, and everything's like looking sad right now because it's getting ready to be water time, and it was so hot today. But this is what my beds are looking like. My salvias are looking good. My amaryllis are blooming out. That's a big sunflower right there. I got some purple sage. My canna lilies are starting to come back out. That poor little guy there, he got beat up. That's a ginger plant. And then up here I've got some Kentucky Wonder beans. I'm actually got my bean basket in my hand. I was out here, started doing the beans, and decided to do the video because I keep forgetting to do it. So here's some more Oriental lily. Here's an Oriental lily there. A lot of salvias that I planted from seed, and coleus that I planted from seed, and zinnias and sunflowers that I've been tucking in throughout here that are starting to jump on me. So there's my canna lilies coming back. So these guys are filling in. The whole garden is filling in, but it's going through transition. It's getting the cool weather stuff out. Here is my beans. Right there, there's some more of those purple pole beans that I told you about before. They are coming in strong. And then over here, our rattlesnakes, as always, are coming in strong. And the purple beans are tucked in here and there. They're also coming in. And then here, my irises have been blooming, my walking irises. And then here we got some more purple salvia and some red salvia that I planted from seed. Some more amaryllis and sunflowers and roses. And one of the really pretty things right now is my climbing rose I've had in here for like 6-7 years, and it is starting to climb. It's finally getting close to the top, and it climbs a little bit more each year. And then I just planted a white one of these right here, and you can see my purple beans. They are starting to climb up this as well. So we will go to the right. A lot of stuff's about to come out because of the weather, but here's my mustard greens are starting to go to seed, so I got to get them all harvested and frozen. I've got some tomato plants back there, more beans back there. Right here is the Small Wonder spaghetti squash from Hoss Tools, and you can see there's one down there, there's one right here, there's one right there, there's one right there, there, over there. So right there, they're just coming up everywhere. So one through there, if you can see. So definitely putting on a lot. I just fertilized these last week. So I'm excited about all the spaghetti squash because I love spaghetti squash. Here is a bed of tomatoes, just different varieties. Got some Constellito Genovese, some Dr. Witchies, some Chef's Choice Orange, Canary Yellow, just a variety of stuff coming in here. And you can see these little Constellito Genovese, which are a very fluted red, multi-purpose, but make really good sauce tomato. And then in this bed here is my patty pan bed. So I've got green patty pan, dwarf patty pans. I've got, and you can see some growing in there. And then I got some yellow patty pans in this aisle. And then this last row at the end, it's got white patty pans, but well, there's a couple of white patty pans coming on right there. So starting to get some of them. And I'll just continue down this row since I got more squash to show you. So we got some, these are the Hoss Tools Partial Eclipse squash, and there's still some carrots that were growing in this bed before I posted them, but they got several on here. So this is my kohlrabi bed. I pulled out a few kohlrabis, and I don't think that the graffiti is gonna, cauliflower is gonna make it because it just got so hot and it took so long, and I'm not sure if this is a graffiti cauliflower or not, but it's humongous. I think it is, but it's too hot for it to do anything now, so I think it's gonna bolt. But it is a humongous plant. But you'll see I got some kohlrabi down there, so I've got a couple of them. Some of them didn't make very big bulbs, some of them stayed little and made little bulbs. You can see all the little kohlrabis through there. So that was, you know, sort of a success because I did get some. This row here was my Lincoln peas and Progress peas, and I have just picked a giant bowl full of these and shelled these out a couple days ago. So there's still just a few on here that I need to get, and then I will be able to put something else in there. In this bed here, we still have some Savoy cabbages going, and then I have ripped out all the broccoli, and I've been planting cantaloupes and watermelons in here. So I'm going to put some more horse manure compost on here and then mulch them, but we're just in transition phase. And here's another small, relatively small bed, but it's packed with corn and crookneck squash, yellow squash, the Alexandria light green squash, and here is the Alexandria. Look at this. This is I think a Ukrainian squash that is a light green and is an early developer, and it resists powdery mildew and the squash bugs and everything. And I got this from Hoss Tools, and so far it is putting on like gangbusters. And there is one of my prolific yellow that I got from, I think, M.I. Gardner. So I've been waiting on that yellow squash to come. And so here, my lettuce is all going to seed in here, so I'm going to be ripping that out. I've got tomato plants I need to put back up because they've just fell down from this hard rain that we had a couple days ago. But got some more. The lettuce is going everywhere, going to seed. And here I got some more Kentucky Wonders on these two little sections here. I've got collards in them, and so I just made a teepee in the middle to grow the Kentucky Wonders vertically so that I could utilize more space in those tiny little squares that I had the two collard plants in. And of course, Kentucky Wonders will grow anywhere, anyhow, and they will go to the sky if you need them to. So I have more growing right there. I'm about to be cleaning out this bed of cabbages, and I pulled most of them up, those cabbages and broccoli, and I've just about cleared this out. You can see all the mesh where I had them covered. But this is about to be a new bed. I'm not sure what all is going to go in here, but look at that collard. And this collard. And that collard. So, going around the corner. This has a couple of pumpkins in it and some more corn. And then in this bed right here, I've got a few pumpkins in here. And then in this one right here, I don't have anything right now, but I do have some cucumbers. Then I have some more cucumbers right there and a few pepper plants right there. And the rest of this bed I haven't filled up yet. And then going around here, I got a bucket full of peppers. Got my Havasus, gypsies, orange bell pepper, and a banana pepper. And you can see all the Havasus and sorry, that's a Culipino. So it's a jalapeno with no heat. So they've been putting on good. In here, I've got some more squash, leftover squash. I think these are some prolific straight neck, and maybe a couple of the partial eclipse squash. There might be a cantaloupe thrown in there too somewhere, just kind of overflow. This is where I grew the cantaloupes and stuff last year in that wheelbarrow. And then here, and this one was turned out interesting. This was a whole row that I planted in cucumbers, and I have yet to get a cucumber. But I went back and I planted some corn on the outside, which is doing pretty good. And then I also planted some King of the Garden or speckled limas, I don't remember which one, large speckled limas around the corn, and then I had the cucumbers in here. But this is actually part of the spaghetti squash from next door. But this is supposed to be a big sunflower right here, but it hasn't bloomed yet. This corn's starting to tassel. But I got corn growing on both sides, as you can see, in the middle of this jungle. And then I only have like 2 or 3 good cucumber plants that are coming out. And then I have some beans down here and some flowers and stuff like that. And this is also, like right here, this is the next door row, which I'll get into right now. So the next door row, this is all a bunch, in this pot right here is a bunch of tomatillos, and then that volunteered. And then here we have some buttercup squash, the Georgia Candy Roasters, and some of the regular Burpee's Best spaghetti squash that I grew last year. And there's the buttercup. And there's several squashes throughout there, and this is kind of gonna go crazy a little bit. And then in the back I have the last of my potatoes growing there, the last batch of potatoes that I got besides those bags up front. And then here I still have a bunch of onions that I had planted in the front of this row. So it's getting very jungly, and it's not even May yet. But this year I really planted densely to take advantage of as much space as possible, but I still got a lot to do. So this row is a tomato bed. So there's a we got a Ichabod eggplant right there, and then we got some sunflowers growing right there, and then we got tomatoes all the way down. So we have some determinates, some indeterminates, but we got this sunflower's gonna be purple. It's called a Chianti. But we got tomatoes. These are Kellogg's breakfast tomatoes. We got some Roma tomatoes. Well, this says it's Roma. They don't look like Roma, so they might have got switched around. And then we got some Burpee hybrids. And we got some Romas here that are coming on that actually look like Romas. I don't know what this is. The tag ain't there anymore. But this one on the end is supposed to be a canary yellow, and it's purple. So it's basically the same thing every year, no matter what I do. Ends up being whatever. We find out what it is after it gets ripe. And then on the other side, but look at all those. That's one cluster on this supposedly Roma tomato. I don't know what it is, but we'll have to find out. So we got canary yellow. Then I got a bunch of marigolds that I grew from seed. There is a German or Cherokee purple with some clusters on it right there. And then we'll go look at some more. I just put these in a few days ago, planted them here. There's some black cherries and some Bayou Moons and some yellow pear, orange icicle, several different varieties growing in here. All the way down this row I did tomatoes, German Queens, Constelluto Genovese, just a bunch of different ones that I've just recently put in here. This one has some of those ones from Baker Creek. We got some Amish paste, Moldovan greens, Chef's Choice, and then in this little guy down here we got some tomatoes, and then this whole row on the back is tomatoes, and then I have the Barlotto beans growing in there. So this is, look, these ones on the end have always got so much sun that they always get so happy. What is this? This is supposed to be a Roma again, but it just has clusters and clusters and clusters, but they're not the right size. See, these look like Romas. They're finally starting to get one that's gonna blush right here. That's my first blushing one. But this is the early girl. It's got a bunch of like little ones sporadically here and there. And then here's the Barlotto beans, which I'll show you. These are the wide flat beans that you could pick and eat as like Italian style green beans, or you can let them dry and you'll have like a cannelli type bean. This is what they look like. And even when they're this big, you see how big that is, they're still really tender, and you can eat. They don't really have much of a string to them, and you can eat them like Italian style green beans. But if I were to leave them on here and let them grow and dry, it would be like a white cannelli type shelling bean that I would grow. But I've been picking them because my green beans weren't coming in yet. So now that my green beans are coming in, I'm gonna start letting them, do their thing. But got some more tomatoes down here, and I'll turn around and show you what I got going on over here. More tomato plants. These are Hungarian hearts. My raspberries. These are my peppers. I got each one of these I had potatoes in, took the potatoes out, put these in. And I got the lemon hot peppers, sweet bonnets, pumpkin spice jalapenos, lemon spice jalapenos, scotch bonnets, and guajillo peppers. And then right here I have my blackberries, which you can see that's full of blackberries. And my Arapaho blackberry is full of blackberries, and keeps getting these humongous blackberries on it. But look how loaded this thing is. So happy. I try to fertilize it every time I come out here with fertilizer, and it is just going ape. And then we have my blueberries, which this poor spaghetti squash right here is trying to suffocate. So there's some blueberries there. Getting a lot of blueberries on that one too, which another vine is trying to take over. And then I had a whole bed of lettuce right here that is going to seed. And then right here I have the burpee spaghetti squash. And then I have some pumpkins growing in here, and some squash, or some corn. And I think I have some of the orange atomic corn in here, as well as if you can see a variegated one in there, that's the variegated grinding corn that I got in my gardener. And then here's some more pumpkins here. They're starting to grow up the trellis. And then not much more to show you because I was still clearing out. I did get the tree gone. So that big old giant oak that was growing over the garden, you can see it is gone. We have so much sunlight in here now. Just got this done like a week and a half ago, and they ground it up and left it as a pile of mulch right there. So I'm so happy about that. And so I'm in the process of reworking everything that was underneath that tree, because I wanted to make sure that nothing got tore out, got damaged for the tree coming down. But they did a great job. So there's one bed I'm doing. I'm going to do another one beside that one, and then rework that back there. And you can see my grapevines are doing good. I have another planter with jalapeno peppers, and there's some sugar snap peas in there, as well as some chocolate mint. But I'm about to clear out all this area here and probably plant watermelons. I just started some more watermelon seeds. And then this little deal here is more jalapenos. And then I made these beds here, which have some tomatoes in the middle. And then on the edges, in these little compartments in the brick, I have started planting peppers. So I'm going to continue doing that. I have plenty of peppers still to plant. Got some eggplants, strawberries, still got my onions in here. And I've got some more onions and tomatoes in here. And then I have jalapenos and serrano peppers and sunflowers and petunias growing in there. And then I just cleared out this. It has sugar snap peas in it. My carrots are still going here and here. And then a lot of my lettuces, cauliflowers are all done. I got to pull them out, but the lettuces are still doing okay right there. Some of them that have been in there in a long time have gone to seed. Sugar snap pea, they still got a few going on it. I'm letting it finish. And then over here, I still got to clear out this bed and replant it. I got to finish pulling the carrots and radishes out of this bed, because they're done. And then these lettuces that are going to seed here with my dinosaur kale. And then right along this fence line here, I'm going to plant some more beans. Like I did plant some beans, but they didn't take off on this end because of how much shade there was with the tree there. But now there's going to be plenty of sunshine. So I'm planting more beans. But I have some Greasy Grits beans over there. I have a lot of chocolate mint. I've got that interplanted with with the romaine lettuce and also some cilantro that I grew from seed. There's a tomato plant right there. And then over here I got dragon tongue beans on the ground and some Kentucky Wonders growing up the fence. And then here is another empty bed for me to grow in. It's got a couple of volunteer tomatillos because I did grow them in this bed last year, but I got to clean this out, get going on my next crop. And there you have a bunch of the Cherokee wax beans growing on the bottom there. And then I got my my rattlesnake beans growing on the fence with a few of this purple beans. And this particular guy here has got carrots growing in part of him. And then I have a few rutabagas right there. I've been actually pulling this whole corner right here was turnips, and I've been eating and pulling the turnips last few days. Especially I've been cutting them up into circles and frying them up like potatoes with some of my potatoes that I've harvested. And then tucked in a little cucumber right there. He's finally getting the sunlight. And then here I had planted some more watermelon radishes, which are being taken over by weeds, so I don't know how well they're going to do. But I also have a few beets and Swiss chard in here. But yeah, so it looks really jungly right now, but I'm in the process of tearing out some of the really winter cooler stuff and putting in some more of the hot stuff. I'm starting more watermelons this week, more cucumbers, okra, and stuff like that. And then my kale's still going good. And these cabbages are still doing good. The bugs haven't got to them yet, but they just could not get the energy to head up because they didn't have any sunlight under that tree. So I'm leaving them until the bugs get them to see, because now they've finally started heading up. So maybe these purple red cabbages will do something good here. So that is the jungle for today, and hopefully in another week or two I will have a lot of different things to show you, and I will have time to get out here and show you where I've cleaned everything out and started new stuff. Thanks for watching.